Feyenoord, and we will join our commentary team for the night. David Pleat, and first, Peter Drury.
Well, thank you, Des. There follows for Chelsea a short walk at the end of a long, long haul. The culmination of a decade's upward mobility at Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea, the English second division champions of 1989, hosting their last European tie of 1999 on a whole new plane. 11 years ago today, Bobby Campbell was preparing this club for a visit on Saturday from Shrewsbury Town. He led them via promotion back into the country's top 20. And now Gianluca Vialli, the fifth manager since, is sending his side out for the first time to mix it with the continent's top 16. Fewer than 12,000 came to that Shrewsbury game. Rather more welcomed Chelsea this evening. All of them seduced again by the thrill of this adventure, the name of the opposition. Milan, Istanbul and Berlin have come and seen and failed to conquer. And now Feyenoord of Rotterdam visit what is unequivocally a Chelsea ground. They come without support, their fans having proved untrustworthy on recent trips. Feyenoord are one of 9 remaining genuine national champions in the Champions League. The only ones, by the way, in this group. They do not, though, represent an especially happy ship right now. Senior players have gone to press this week expressing various degrees of dissatisfaction at the club, its running, its ambition, indeed their ambitions. Like Chelsea also, they are some way off the pace in their National League. Having said which, for all the furrowed brows, Chelsea are only 2 points worse off than they were at this stage of last Premiership season. Vialli still juggles with this two-fronted campaign. Tonight's sense of security, though, is born of the knowledge that so far he has erred on the side of Champions League success. Well, these are two clubs of very sincere handshaking terms. Each has expressed public pleasure at drawing the other, as well as significant transfer interaction drawing them together. Glenn Hoddle took a side over to Rotterdam in 1995 to reopen their renovated De Kuip Stadium, at which the Euro 2000 final will be held next summer. Relations are good. Chelsea's team is pretty much what you read in your morning paper. For all the talk of rotation, it's actually a fairly settled side. 9 of those 11 were involved to some extent in every game in Phase 1. Gus Poyet is back after missing Saturday's Goodison trip. Dennis Wise, mid-domestic suspension, should be fresh. Chris Sutton's European suspension allows the front two effectively to pick themselves. This evening, Paul Bosvelt, remembered in this country for a gruesome challenge on Dennis Irwin 2 years ago. I watched the tape back the other day. Believe me, it hasn't improved with time. Bosvelt arrived at Feyenoord just as Ed de Hoy was leaving for Chelsea. Darling of the Dutch press yesterday, generous to a fault about former colleagues, stingy and without fault in the Champions League so far. It has been European nights like these which, over the last couple of bleakish domestic months, have kept the Chelsea blue touch paper alight. They put 5 past the European champions on this ground at the start of October. Since then, 5 in the Premiership without a win. And perhaps prematurely, there are those asserting that their best route back to the Champions League is via the Champions League. Reversing a well-known phrase, they've got to win it to be in it. And looking at the 6 fixtures they've got in this phase, David Pleat, you would suggest they've got to win this one.
Well, you would suggest that because Lazio and Marseille look stronger than Feyenoord. Feyenoord at the moment in a stuttering league sequence of results. But Chelsea may be relieved tonight. They certainly look as though they've got a very strong combination, very combination capable of fluid football. So the onus is on Chelsea, and I expect them to start with a good tempo, and I'm quite sure the chairman and the manager would hope that they can get the points here tonight in their pockets.
Left full back is Jan de Visser. There is Van Vonderen, who has missed the last couple of games injured. De Visser replaces the Pole Raza on the left side of the Feyenoord defence. Raza was held up as the scapegoat after his side let slip a 3-goal lead domestically on Friday night. They've drawn both their games since match day 6, both 3-all draws, one from behind, 3-1, and one, as I mentioned, from in front, and drawing has been their habit, 5 draws out of 6 on the way to this stage of the competition. Konterman with the long ball forward, helped on its way by Kalu, held up by Somalia. Leboeuf went in hard. He picked up 2 yellows, of course, on Merseyside at the weekend. Too much on the free kick for Van Vossen, former Rangers player who has an extraordinary CV, titles at Anderlecht in 93, 94 and 95 at Ajax, 96 and 97 at Rangers, 99 at Feyenoord. Most years Peter Van Vossen ends up with a gold medal.
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing him play tonight. He can be very tricky. He's going to play out wide on the left-hand side. He's a clever dribbler. On the right-hand side, Kalu, and in the centre,
Zola with back to goal and being watched towards the byline by Van Gastel. 2 small men with pumped out chests and pride. And Zola has earned Chelsea their first set piece of the evening. Forward for which comes Desai. Wise has taken it short. Zola can lever it in, and it was a comfortable catching height for Dudek. This is Van Hobbel, who will be mightily familiar to those of you who watch football at the Dell. Yaro, about whom there was a hint of a worry prior to the game. And now Ferrer. He's been all the way in this competition. Zola. Ferrer kept on going. He has caught the mood after his goal last time out. Poyet. Petrescu. Flo is on the back post. Petrescu is doing the teasing and getting to the byline and delivering. And Poyet flew to the near post, but couldn't quite effect a sufficiently large deflection.
It was a good ball by Petrescu, but it was interesting that it was Poyet who made the pass to Petrescu, already coming away from that left-hand side and drifting.
Petrescu's eagerness to make good tracks down the right-hand side has been so much a feature of his game, particularly since conversion from right full-back. Van Vossen wrestling with Ferrer and then getting away from him and finding Desai between him and the penalty area. Bosveld, Van Gastel, Kalu, Somalia, Kalu with a shooting chance, and De Hoy plunging at his near post to deny the striker from the Ivory Coast.
It was a clever one too, and fortunately De Hoy had his concentration up. Got to watch that. Good combination, Somalia, Kalu.
De Hoy won't have been forgotten by his former colleagues, and he's reminded them now if need was required. Header away is by Flo. Poyet, he is searching through the middle. He has one either side. First option was Zola. Wise is edge of the penalty area. Zola's trying to seek him out. Babayaro has got forward as well and has had a strike which caught a deflection last off Konterman, and it's Chelsea's corner, and it is a game that has started with an openness and a thrust, vim and a vigour.
Yeah, good break, quick break. Important for Feyenoord that Van Gastel sits. That's his natural position in front of the 2 central defenders, Konderman and Van Vanderen. If he goes a-wandering, then there's going to be spaces developed because Feyenoord are playing ambitiously with 2 wide and 1 up the middle.
Wise's corner, and Poyet ringing himself again. And in so doing, apparently causing himself some inconvenience. He's a hefty fellow who won't stay down uninvited and was writhing rather uncomfortably. There's a very visible desire to get in front of the defender at the optimum moment. And the defender was a vast individual, who is Ulrich van Hobbel.
Certainly has massive strength, Van Hobbel, and certainly 2 or 3 years ago he was one of the quickest players, certainly when he came to Southampton from Holland. Caught Poyet, obviously.
Poyet was laid back on Saturday, too late back to make the trip up to Merseyside. Ambrosetti played on the left-hand side for Chelsea, pulled up lame within the first 60 seconds of the game, so Vialli had a lot of reshuffling to do. It was a hugely disrupted game at the weekend, and he could do without similar early disruptions here. Wise again to deliver. Get her away by Van Hastel. In by Deschamps, who scored from similar range, but whose shot was charged down and has left trouble for Chelsea at the other end now. And Ferrer's vision and covering from right full back was essential from Chelsea's viewpoint, because Thomason and Somalia had a route to goal.
If Thomason could have just got that ball round, Somalia was free. He may have just been in an offside position, but splendid covering by Albert Ferrer.
Van Vossen. This time got the better of him, and Deschamps can gather and probe again. Wise. Petrescu. Zola the chaser. So clever on the ball. He has Petrescu behind him. He's levered out across himself, and Poyet has climbed. His battle with Van Hobbel is becoming an engaging early feature of the game. Desai doing well to keep it in. He was captain of France in their 3-0 win against Croatia during international week. Leboeuf and Deschamps both involved in that game as well. Ball to hand as Konterman brought it under control, at least in the view of the Spanish referee. Desai. Poyet now from the left-hand side. Looking at Flo, who went up hard with Van Vonderen. Van Vossen ran into Ferrer. And Petrescu was run into by Jan de Visser.
Got too tight there, and Petrescu knew exactly what he was doing. Very clever player, Petrescu, particularly when he gets on the shoulder of the opposite fullback and makes those decisive runs.
Leboeuf forward naturally. Desai forward naturally. Zola over the free kick. Wise alongside with the captain's armband. A posse of 6 Chelsea shirts other side of the penalty spot. He hit though Van Hastel, and Kalou got it clear. And it's Ferrer again doing the tackling on the halfway line. First 10 minutes have flown, but goallessly slow. De Visser. Too much on it for Somalia.
I think we should see a good supply of ball passing up to Zola's feet tonight, and Vialli will be very interested to see the work of Flo and Zola. He still has that little problem yet to be solved of Chris Sutton signing from Blackburn as a contender for a front spot, but many Chelsea supporters believe that the twosome out tonight are the best combination.
Here's Zola. A clever one of the twosome. So not clever enough to get beyond 3 opponents then, of whom Van Vonderen brought it clear. Somalia with the touch. Leboeuf has cut it out. Wise has it now. WRO one way, Leboeuf the short ball, Deschamps the forward-looking ball. It's Didier Deschamps. Let's come back to Poyet. Zola is wide. Flows in the middle, Zola's seeking him out, and Konterman with a panicky clearance. He is an accomplished central defender, is Bert Konterman, who's following in the footsteps of Jaap Stam, who were in the Willem II side together in the early 90s, and he's considered by some to be a successor. And his work cut out just to see it behind into the Matthew Harding stand. Desai with the header! Charged down from Poyet, came back to Flo, and ultimately Konterman brought it away with the help of Van Hommel. Desai. Deschamps. And back to square one from Marcel Desailly, who was involved there as Chelsea came mighty close to breaching the Feyenoord goal. Zola. Slow, he's got bags of space. And Poyet again is going to the near post. And Flo's hung it up high, and Dudek is beneath it.
Well, that's the second successive poor cross by Chelsea when they may have been closed down quicker. In the first time it was De Visser. On that occasion there we see the head at the back post and the volley of Poyet, a little bit fortunate against Van Vonderen. But already Chelsea establishing a pattern. They've got possession in the centre of the field. They're patient and they're beginning to dictate the game.
Here's Poyet again, who scored in qualifying against Skonto Riga right back at the start of the piece. Flo picking up pieces. Oh, he's got a very, very nasty bobble. And Dudek was fortunate that it didn't beat him. That would have been a vast embarrassment. But it wouldn't have been the Polish goalkeeper's fault. First test match starts in South Africa tomorrow, and they'll be hoping for no patches like that outside the off-stump. Here's Flo. Running at Konterman, who was strong in the tackle. Poyet. And Van Hommel was equally strong. There were cries of handball, but the referee was within 5 or 7 yards. Very nasty moment for Jerzy Dudek. Flo's shot was apparently harmless, but it got up off a leg.
We'll be interested to see if that affects him. Whether he gets a little bit nervous, he'll be very circumspect, I think, when the next ball comes in along the deck.
Deschamps, Flo, Deschamps. Poyet. Deschamps. Actually out by Konterman, but they're decidedly unsure around the edge of the penalty area, the final defenders right now. Babayaro. Petrescu. Deschamps. Babayaro. By Konterman. Wise. Flo. Ferrer. Zola back post. Eventually the outlet was Callan. Wise again. Flo. He's gone to earth, but he fell over defender and he kept on going, and he got up to his immense credit. And there were those behind the goal who felt he might have earned Chelsea a corner, but Flo's sheer industry and very visible desire.
It seems whenever Flo makes that forward run, they're never looking to stand up and hold the play. They're going back with him. He's causing problems down the channels, although there was some determined Dutch defending there.
Without a doubt, Chelsea's first corner out. A game they probably have to win in the second phase of the Champions League. They've never been beaten on this ground in European competition, but then Feyenoord haven't lost an away game in Europe since doing so at Old Trafford 2 years ago. They had a catastrophe in the UEFA Cup last year, having won 3-1 in Stuttgart. They got beaten by 3 goals on their own ground. After losing twice to United 2 years ago, they appointed Leo Beenhakker, and they haven't lost a Champions League game since. Fell on Zola and Van Hastel. Does have an extraordinary CV, Ben Hacker. Twice in charge of Ajax, Real Zaragoza, twice the Dutch national side, twice Real Madrid, 5 European Cup semi-finals. Poyet breaking into the penalty area. Van Hobbel strong enough to keep him at bay once again. Deschamps with Ferrer outside. Deschamps though has delivered himself. Flo got up high. Conterman got up higher. Wise picking it up again. Babiyara with a chance to re-deliver. Zola's popped up on the left side of the penalty area now. Zola's ball in. Van Hastel near post. Now to Deschamps. Desailly. Wise. Clever ball for Petrescu. Clever work by Petrescu. Away from him by De Visser. And out by Van Hobbel on the far side for a corner. And it is pretty well relentless from Chelsea right now. Yeah,
Feyenoord look very laboured at times, and certainly in the middle of the field. Van Hastel needs more help from Bosvelt. They are getting played around by the Chelsea players.
Wise has played it in. Desailly's attacking. Dudek just about got a palm on it. And then there was a little bit of afters involving France's most recent skipper. Chance to get into the 6-yard box is a special occasion for Marcel Desailly at that end of the field, and he wasn't about to disappear in a hurry. Deschamps. Leboeuf. A wonderful ball. Babiyara, if he can keep it in at the byline, he's done second best, he's won a corner. What a fabulous ball for Babiyara from Leboeuf.
Well taken by the young Nigerian fullback, and give credit to Van Hobbel. It was a splendid tackle.
Got beyond Deschamps. And out by Van Vonderen. And Babiyara this time less successful, without balance, and well clear of the crossbar. Vialli has his juggling to do. Premiership on a Saturday, Champions League on a Wednesday. There are those who think it's getting away from him at home, and who reckon the pressure is starting to tell on him. I saw him yesterday. He seemed in remarkably good humour and upbeat about the battle on both fronts. Kalou, Leboeuf, run back by Poyet. Desailly, Flo. Petrescu's gone ahead of him, and Flo has attempted to locate the Romanian and very nearly did so. And Hastel, the skipper, tied it up in front of his back four. This is Van Vossen. Ideally stationed. Ferrer. Deschamps. Flo. Deschamps, well worked. Deschamps to the near post. Zola wants to turn and to spin and then to set it up for Dennis Wise, who from apparently unmissable range was denied by a fabulous sprawling stop. Babiyara back in. Header away for Deschamps. Petrescu. It's held up inside the 6-yard area with Poyet closest to the piece again. But either Dennis Wise missed him possibly, or this was one of the great saves.
Super play by Zola. When the ball comes to Dennis Wise and he hits it unerringly really with his left foot, he must have thought I'm scoring. And Dudek did very well to block it. But at the moment, unless Feyenoord tuck the wide players in a little bit, Van Vossen on the left and Kalou on the right, and Thomason drops in a little bit, I cannot see the pattern changing. They're playing a typical Dutch formation, one up the middle, 2 wide players, but there's too many players in the midfield area with good possession abilities for Chelsea, and at the moment they've got to try and get hold of a bit more ball, or else Somalia is going to be a distant and lone figure up the front with no support.
Chelsea have reached this far to a large degree on the back of their settled defence. They only conceded 3 goals in phase 1. Only Lazio could match that defensive record. It's at the other end now, though, that they seek a killer punch, because right now it is wave after wave of blue pressure. He just must have scored. He must have scored. Goals in Istanbul and in Milan, memorable moments both. He hasn't scored at Stamford Bridge since the opening day of the season, in that corner mauling of Sunderland. Petrescu's balling. Poyet again furthest forward. Well, he scored on the opening day as well with a wonderful volley, and he nearly matched it then.
Fabulous ball by Petrescu, and there's that stealthy little cross run of Poyet, getting across the defender, hitting it early. Good shot, good effort. That's why Poyet scores goals. He senses danger and he senses the space.
Babayara. Backs and backs of acreage for him. Flow back post. Zola's got near post. Babayara's got himself. He's been wonderful down that left side once or twice in the first half. He really has charged forward. But you can see the funny side when it all goes comically wrong at the end.
I think he must already be feeling that if they keep calm in the last 30 yards and they compose themselves, they're certainly capable of getting 1, 2, maybe more goals this evening. At the moment, Feyenoord don't look good enough defensively to stop Chelsea getting efforts at goal.
Kalu. Van Hobbel. Cut out by Wise. Very encouraging Chelsea display so far. Needs a goal. Flow. Wise. Petrescu. Held it up well, but let it slip. Petrescu was taken off on the Saturday by Vialli to send on Zola and make the 3 men up front with Flo and Sutton. The organisation came to naught though when Sutton had to shuffle back to centre half when Leboeuf was sent off, and Sutton actually played wonderfully well there. Van Hasten. Somalia. Tackle was by Wise, picked up by Desai, straight towards Andre Flo. Countryman emerged with it, Van Vossen has it now. Bosveldt. Back by Ferrer to Edgar Hoy. One of 3 players to join Chelsea from Feyenoord over the past decade or so. Ken Moncau came here from that club, and Dave Mitchell, who you may not remember quite so well, last heard of I think at Millwall, is also a product of Feyenoord who came here. Here's Zola with the delivery. Beyond Flo, who had half a thought about surging at it, but then had second thoughts. The moment has passed. Preston, Flo, Poyet, just Poyet! That's his kind of range. 13 goals in European football from Chelsea this season have come from 11 different scorers and from a variety of distances. Zola again. Petrescu one way, Flo the other. He's gone wide with Dan Petrescu. Wise arriving at the back stick. Van Hassel behind.
I'd like to see the stats on crosses so far. I think we played about 25 minutes. My word, Chelsea have had quite a few crosses.
Wise with the opportunity to throw in one more. Leboeuf at the near post, Petrescu at the back post. Leboeuf attempted to effect the flick on. The header away was to Babayaro. Wise will keep this in. Leboeuf is in the left wing position. Dennis Wise is in the penalty area for Chelsea. Well, maybe it got a bobble. It was a little elaborate, though, perhaps, when there were simpler and perhaps more logical options on.
It was very wasteful. He was unopposed and he had time.
Somalia got a Kalu helped it on its way and clashed with Babayaro. And what Chelsea could least do with now, having dominated the first 27 minutes to the point of near embarrassment, is concede a goal. De Hoy has barely been tested, bar one early block. It's Van Hastel over the free kick. Decent crack as well, but straight at Leboeuf by Babayaro, down by Flo, and Chelsea are thinking forward again. Better. Besai. Anderson is breathing down his neck. Right on the edge of the penalty area. The ball had actually disappeared by the time Van Hobbel denied him any further forward momentum and had hold of his sleeve as well.
First free kick that's been conceded in a goal-scoring chance position.
And it's Zola's side of the penalty area. Franco Zola, little touch off the wall. It's another corner. Desai receiving treatment from Chelsea's physio Mike Banks. It's a Midlander, in actual fact. And look at how dominant Chelsea have been statistically from this position. Wise with the ball in, headed away from Poyet, came to Babayaro. Held up by Bosveld, and Van Vossen has proved the outlet this time. Kalu, Bosveld. Zola. Get a chance to run at pace at Van Hobbel. And he rather threw himself at the fullback there, in the opinion of the fullback.
Well, he certainly read it, Van Hobbel. He knew exactly what he was doing. Clear obstruction.
And this is a couple of yards closer. Zola's dialogue is with Van Hobbel. Dudek is fractionally more threatened by this free kick than in theory he was by the last. Less space for Zola to get it up and down in. Wise is screaming for it back post. Zola's going for goal though. Back to Leboeuf. Desai is square. Clever ball though for Gianfranco Zola. Faced by Kalu. Going back and winning it. Wise. Poyet. Out again to Poyet. Petrescu. And Somalia going down. Nearest to him was Desai. Chelsea keep hitting the 20s, but they can't find treble 20s. They're getting it in the box, but are yet to score. Callan. Away from Wise, neat ball in for Thomas. And out by Marcel Desailly. Tells a story. I'm surprised the figures don't contrast even more than that, frankly.
Yes, Feyenoord haven't been able to really put together any passages of play at all. Thomason's unable to get in the game. He's dropped right off now into the midfield to try and help. But Chelsea are still finding possession, in my view, are too easy to come by.
Desailly stumbling nastily. Yaro was the escape route. Deschamps. Better. Slow. Conterman saw him away. Leboeuf. He's got forward an awful lot. He's had a crack, Leboeuf, and it bounced up off that same sort of area that nearly embarrassed the goalkeeper a little while ago.
Very positive, Frank Leboeuf. You almost sense there was some frustration in that determined attempt to surge forward and have a shot. He may be slightly disappointed with the final ball into the box tonight so far of Chelsea. He wouldn't be marking much more than 5 out of 10 at this moment for the final pass or the final cross.
Desailly headed away, shredded Somalia, and Hoy had spilt it. He was grateful that Somalia was the only man forward. Perhaps wasn't as easy to gather as at first it appeared. Swinging in the air. Zola. Low. High to Vista. Rare. Deschamps. Header out. Thomason. Rare again. Now Poyet. Flow to hold it up. Flow to turn. Flow to shoot. Deflection. Corner. It's his nimbleness on the ground as much as his aerial prowess which wins Flow headlines.
Good turn. Nice early shot.
One of only two to score twice in the Champions League for Chelsea this year. There's Dennis Wise, the other. Flo is one of his targets. Poyet is another. Wise delivers. Petrescu's awkward header up into the air. Van Vossen got it partially cleared. Deschamps won it back. Yaro is furthest back. Better. Leboeuf with the flick through. Petrescu is forward. Dudek will come and gather.
Calm goalkeeping by the Czech. Looked a bit hesitant at first as that ball came in.
Poyet. Another rangy ball forward for Gianfranco Zola, who has Petrescu behind him. But Zola likes to take his man on. And want to throw in. Got away from De Vissa, but Conterman was the covering centre half. Ferrer, out by Van Vonderen. Petrescu between two of them, and at the penalty area, at Flo. Conterman again was the defender with the header away, and Desailly into touch. Been as much an offensive weapon as A defensive cover tonight, Marcel Desailly. Same applies for Frank Leboeuf. Dudek's clearance was errant. Deschamps was onto it. Zola's onto it now. Zola into the box, shooting chance for Gianfranco Zola. They just can't squeeze it in.
Well, Conderman was very calm there as the ball came across from Zola. To see him step over the ball once again, a lovely piece of exquisite trickery by Zola. And Conderman just lets that ball veer past the far post. There you see that lovely turn. And a rather disappointing shot with his left foot, Zola. Not at his best on his left side, although he can trick players both ways. Once again, you have to say, disappointing finishing, disappointing crossing, but good approach play by Chelsea.
The goalkeeper didn't arrive here till 8 o'clock last night. Now here's Zola, flipped in by Petrescu. Zola's ball across the face of goal. Dudek didn't come, and Conterman saw it away from him.
Feyenoord rarely clear the box after they clear the ball like English sides. They sit very deep, they're almost inviting Chelsea to attack them at times. Zola.
And again, nice 1-2 with Poyet. Zola's ball in, but there's no one there for it this time. One of the less inventive moments from Gianfranco Zola. Thomas. Van Vossen. Deschamps. Flo and Conterman, and Flo has won it this time. Conterman got back well. Flo has retained possession. Babayaro can lift it in, beyond Poyet, beyond Zola. Header out by De Vissa.
Very comfortable for Desailly and Leboeuf at the moment. Maybe tempting Providence, but you can almost feel they could take out a couple of deck chairs second half. Somalia is really a lone figure up the front. Can't build any attacks up the middle. They have to get it wide to Van Vossen or Kalou. Kalou's been most ineffective so far.
Petrescu. Babayaro. Away from Kalou. Leboeuf again getting forward. He surely rarely has had this much opportunity in the opposition half. Ferrer. Flo. Flo! Keeper held it well.
Good catch by Dudek. Once again, that half turn by Flo, knew what he wanted to do, just didn't get enough on it. Only the second time really, despite all Chelsea's attacking, that Dudek's been really called upon. We recall that tremendous block from Wise's shot earlier on.
Zola. Away from Petrescu that time. Poyet's won it back. Zola. Petrescu. Surely now from Flo, no. Conterman again, the defender, and deep though they have defended their lines, Feyenoord, you've got to say Conterman has generally been in the right place when it's mattered.
Yeah, he only sees the ball when he goes into a tackle, this Conterman. Marking very tightly now, Flo. Van Vanderen is taking Zola. The Chelsea players have the better of it.
Wise to the near post. Header out by Van Hassel, back in by Zola. Bosvelt that time with the partial clearance. Wise is onto it, and Wise has got to the byline, and Wise has delivered again. Van Hoddle with the desperate clearance. Last 3 minutes of the first half. How haven't Chelsea scored? Desai, Flo, waiting. Wise, delivering. Flo getting up highest. Wise again. Zola. Oh! It's good touch by the keeper. It flew from Zola's right boot, as it generally does. And it's a touch that mattered.
Lovely clean half volley.
Wise again. Van Hobbel again. Deschamps' hand, but the referee had seen it and waved it on. Caballero. Wise. Trescott. Deschamps. Continent once again. He's viewed to be the next Jaap Stam. He made his international debut as a substitute in a game against Argentina in the spring and did a fantastic marking job by all accounts on Batistuta. They like him. He's done well. Wise with the corner. Poyet again.
Poyet just escaping the attentions there of Van Hobbel, who's headed particularly well defensively this half. There you see Poyet just over the bar. We're talking about Conderman, who played with Sami Hyypiä, the Liverpool centre-half at Williams Way 2 seasons ago. Many English scouts went over regularly to watch them both play. Hyypiä got his move to England. No one came in for Conderman. He went to Feyenoord. His career's developed on, but he's now 28, 29 next birthday, and he may just have missed the boat for England.
Zola. Flo. Petrescu. Caballero this time! Yes! Just as you wondered whether it would ever come, Celestine Caballero has broken through for Chelsea. He's flown off his flank like he rarely has before, Caballero, this evening. And when he flew in field, he flew at the header. And Chelsea's deserved lead is finally established.
Well, for the umpteenth time, a cross, and a good cross. And Caballero was brave, the header was powerful, and Dudek may have been a little bit unlucky, but it was something that was almost predictable. Chelsea had to score.
Well, you sometimes say on these occasions it has been coming, but that would be a vast understatement. Celestine Caballero, who scored the first goal of Chelsea's European campaign this season against Skonto Riga, has now scored their most recent. Zola through the channel, Flo chases. Continent behind. Chelsea didn't score until 45 minutes had elapsed. To squeeze 2 into stoppage time might appear greedy, but it wouldn't half be a handy cushion. Wise deep. Poyet down. Desai. Flo! Well, the goal's 8 yards by 8 feet. If it had been 9 yards by 9 feet this half, Chelsea could be 4 or 5 up.
There's yet another corner. Probably hit it just a little bit high, Flo. No, he let it come down. And it was fierce and well timed. But Feyenoord, maybe it'll help them change gear a little bit if they've got a gear to change into in the second half. The shock of Babiaro's goal. But so far, they're not doing Dutch football particular credit. I don't really feel they look as though they're massively up for it. I haven't seen any physical challengers, real tough physical challengers. We knew all about Bosvelt, but it's been a lame performance by the Dutch and a good performance by Chelsea.
Half time, and you have a crick in your neck. It's all been one way. Dennis Wise had a chance or two. Babayaro had the chance that counted in stoppage time, flinging himself at a header and breaking a deadlock that had seemed for so long unbreakable. Chelsea knocked and knocked and knocked. Eventually the door was answered, as a result of which, at the break, they lead by 1-0. It's Terry Venables and Des Lynam after this break.
First half here, but they lead by just one goal to nil. And the other score in this group, incidentally, is Marseille 0, Lazio 0 at the moment. But almost as good as the goal, or perhaps even better than the goal, was the celebration of Babayaro. I don't remember you doing this, by the way.
Oh, no, well, he did actually break his leg doing that once. That's why I didn't do it. He did, he broke his leg doing that celebration.
He's some athlete. So Chelsea lead Feyenoord by 1-0. He must be pleased, surely.
Of course he's pleased. I tell you what, we talk about controlling the game from the back, and there's a lot spoke about it, but Chelsea do it wonderfully well. I can't really say enough about how they bring their defenders into play and don't let them become just spectators.
So Chelsea made no changes for the second half, and we're all set for it, so let's go back to our commentary team. Chelsea 1 up, David Pleat and Peter Drew.
Thanks, Des. There's the man. Chelsea haven't conceded a goal in their 4 European ties at the Bridge this season. The elongation of that record would represent the ideal start to phase 2, of course, but the suspicion is that it can be, it should be, perhaps it will be even better than that. They perhaps have saved their goals for the shed end. There could have been a shed load before the break. Feyenoord's question immediately after it is whether they have a new gear into which they can change. The argument is that possibly they haven't. That has been the black mark against their names up to now in the Champions League. Hence 5 draws and only a single win on match day 6, when they got through really by default. A late goal from substitute Somalia added to Borussia Dortmund's extraordinary failure to beat Boa Vista. Feyenoord, without doubt, are here through the back door, but Van Bommel and his friends, David Pleat, will know that they have to improve, and they will have to find a gear from somewhere if they're to get anything out of this game.
Yes, I think they'll have to come out a little bit and squeeze the play to enable more support to get nearer to Somalia up front. It's 2 interesting statistics amongst the host of corners and crosses and the 1 goal. Only 10 fouls in the game, 5 to either side, and not 1 offside in the whole game. Now that suggests that Feyenoord really are sitting too deep. I think they've got to push out and support. They get too stretched. They've got to try and get a goal.
Babayaro, the hero of the current hour. Dealing against there, maybe 1 or 2 more before the hour's out. Flo. Poyet. The Nigerian once again, who maybe lost to Chelsea incidentally in the new year when the African Nations Cup takes place. Zola. To bring out the latest from his repertoire of little flicks and tricks. And Dudek again is reluctant to take the goal kick. He's passed on that duty to Conterman. Chester. Flo. Deschamps. Feyenoord's history in Europe against English clubs is long and varied. They've had ties against Everton, Ipswich, Spurs, Newcastle, most recently of course Manchester United. But only 1 win in 8 games in England. That's Flo going over the challenge of Conterman, who has so often been the last, the most vigorous, the most necessary of the Feyenoord defenders.
Well, loves to get into those wide positions where he can put his foot over the ball and deceive defenders. Loves them to be tight to him.
Desai can come lumbering forward to join Flo again. Desai got head to ball. It's a goal kick. Desai, who's had a decent crack or two at goal this evening. He hasn't scored in European competition since the final of 1994. There's a man, Bialy, who knows plenty about finals. 7 of his last 11 seasons have ended at a European final. Zola. And Gosson is the offender this time.
Maybe Feyenoord saw that foul count at half-time and told him to get tough. And Gosson, not normally a man even to put his foot in, never mind pull anyone back.
Still, the referee hasn't had to go to his pocket, the Spaniard. I saw Leboeuf there just before him, who had reason to thank him for sending off Blanc in the World Cup semi-final, of course. Part of a game in the final. Zola's ball in. And hobble away. Forward again by Ferrer. Konterman once again away. Deschamps. Flo. Good, strong turn. And strength again from Tore-Andre Flo. And he's won a corner. Through sheer will and endeavour.
And that was outstanding defending, because Flo really did superbly well to control that ball, to get it on the half turn, to drag the ball forward. You felt he had a chance of getting that half yard to get it in, but Konterman was there.
Chelsea are picking up where they left off. Wise again. And Van Hobble away. Really does reach the point of seeming like a series of action replays. Wise once again preparing to deliver. His sense of urgency undimmed. Flo with movement, and Desai with movement, and Poyet another natural target. Jostling and making half a yard inside the penalty area. Wise again, and Flo going in there. And the clearance to Zola. And of course, it's another corner.
With a fabulous strike by Zola. Left foot, his weaker foot. Look at the way he kept that ball down. Lovely action.
A lot of footballers would love a weaker foot like that. Wise for the third time of asking. Away from Desai. Out as far as Leboeuf, who went down. Now, which side of the penalty area line was that? It was in the D. The debate is a fearsome one. Leboeuf was horribly contorted as he went up into the air and down again. The suspicion seems to be that it was just outside. That is how they're shaping up. Started just outside and he was kicked in.
I think it was a good decision, but if the referee insists on the wall going to 10 yards, then this is a very real chance for Chelsea. But he must make the wall go 10 yards.
Another 6 inches and this would be a penalty. With Gianfranco Zola available, it's potentially the next best thing. Deschamps is one of the committee. Leboeuf might fancy a fire from this range too. It's an 8-man wall. It's Zola. Oh! He seemed to have the fade, the away swing, precisely right. And there was a suspicion, there was a mild debate going on that it possibly hit the spare man on the edge of the wall on the head on the way through. Chelsea might have had a corner. Such is their dominance. Chelsea seemed able to shrug the incident off.
No specific change in the Feyenoord tactics. Still playing the same way, giving this man, LeBouf, and his partner Desai the room to come and join in with a composed play from the back.
Desai. Fede. Desai, who at times tonight has seemed like a supplementary centre forward. Poyet. Zola. Look at the space for Ferrer. Look at the space he's got. Ferrer's delivery. Petrescu. There are times when this is like a practice exercise.
Acres of room for Ferrer. Went onto the ball well. Maybe a suspicion of handball at the beginning. Lovely cross, perfectly weighted. And there's Dan heading just too high. Not his strongest suite, his heading.
Now Deschamps. Babiaro wide of him. Zola through the gap. Zola! Good save. Petrescu, maybe this time. Oh! Did he want to touch too many?
Well, that's how Dan Petrescu scores his goals. He loves to shimmy and dummy defenders before placing the ball, and that's what he was attempting to do there, rather than whack it. They are artists, these Chelsea players. They like to be perfect sometimes with their passing and their movement.
On by Babiaro, this time unacceptably in the view of the referee. Splendid foresight by Deschamps to play the ball. Zola had the crack. And Petrescu couldn't finish. Flow through the channel. Onto across. Wise. Desai. Zola, nice flick. Poyet. Chelsea appear to have so much time, they want to over-luxuriate in it. Deschamps. Options either side. Deschamps with the early ball in. LeBouf. Deschamps. Zola. Babiaro is going outside of it. Clashes with Kalu. They may incidentally meet in the African Nations Cup in January. Kalu of the Ivory Coast. They've been drawn with Togo and Cameroon and Ghana. Nigeria will face Congo, Morocco and Tunisia. It's in Nigeria and Ghana. Whole different continent, whole different competition. Here is Cruz, the Argentine centre forward, waiting to come on for Feyenoord. Causing a delay in the free kick. There's some confusion as to whether he's coming on at once or waiting. Zola plays it in. Deschamps! Oh. And Petrescu got to the near post and wanted a little flick. It's party time. It's only 1-0. That's the point. It's only 1-0. Kalu. Good tackle by Babiaro. What a good, clean tackle. Reached the point where Zola can afford to lose it and be fairly sure he'll get it back. Poyet. Deschamps. And now the change. Cruz has a problem with his left leg, which is, I'm told, causing him pain whenever he wants to kick. They're able to anaesthetize it up to a point for maybe half a game or a little less, which is why his arrival has been delayed. He replaces Thomason, who wouldn't have felt that pain because David, he's hardly had a kick.
No, Thomason's been, I almost said a nasty thing, predictably bad, but he likes to play up front and pick up 1 or 2 goals. He never really got going at Newcastle. He had a very good season before he came to Newcastle in the Dutch League, but tonight he's been really insipid, playing in that role just a little bit deeper than the front player. He's made really no contribution to the game. I've rarely seen a team in Europe play so empty in midfield as the Dutch.
Correa has conceded the throw-in. Supposed to have gone to animosity at the back for Chelsea. Boston turning. Correa, Bolton. Since the first minute or two of the game, Van Vossen hasn't got away from Correa at all, and when he threatened to do so, Correa was, by fair means or foul, not going to allow him the opportunity. But he's coming off anyway, is Van Vossen. May not know it yet, writhing as he does by the touchline, but he's being replaced by the Yugoslav Samardzic. It's a long hobble around the pitch from there. Radoslav Samardzic, who's been in Dutch football since 1995 with Volendam and Heerenveen. This is his first season there at a new club, his first experience of Champions League football. Van Hastel.
It's interesting, at half-time, Peter, the great Johan Cruyff is up on this commentary gantry for Dutch television, and we asked him at half-time, will Feyenoord change their tactics, and he put his arms up in the air as though to say, I don't know if they can. They can change the individuals, I'm not sure if they can naturally be more aggressive with their tactics. We shall see.
Well, Cruz here may make a difference. It's Cruz into the penalty area, away from Babayaro, back for Kalu, Kalu's ball in and Leboeuf away. Be a bad thing in the long term for Chelsea's defenders to be reminded that occasionally they may have to defend. De Visser, out by Desai. Van Hastel, Cruz came for it. Leboeuf is cruising and he's put a super ball over the top, and Flo is onside and was charged down by Consuman, and it's Flo again and Zola's behind him, and Flo was beaten to it by Consuman again, but he's not easily taken off the ball. Poyet didn't get the in-swing he desired.
Well, full marks for his determination there by Flo. When he laid the ball back to Poyet, and Gastel fell for the dummy so easily, and then he drifted that ball wide. I thought that possibly Flo was offside there when that ball was delivered.
Remember him scoring from a very similar position in Istanbul, left-footed from that kind of angle to get Chelsea rolling goals-wise on that most prolific of evenings. Flicks it wide for Babayaro, whose goal extraordinarily is still the only one of the evening. Kalu got away from Deschamps. Kalu's pulled back. The Berth was well positioned. Babayaro's given it away. Everything's relative, but this actually is Chelsea's least certain period of the game.
And Feyenoord's best spell, and Beenhakker will be wandering there on the touchline, whether they're going to get back in the game. Kroos has added a little bit of weight and muscle to the front. So they have two strikers now. They can hit the more direct searching forward ball if they wish to. Of course, that's a little bit foreign to their defenders. They like to work the ball out, a bit like Chelsea do so well in English football.
Batistuta, Balbo, Kroos. One hopes not from Chelsea's viewpoint. Argentines, the three of them. Flo, Zola, Deschamps, Petrescu, Zola, Flo through the middle, just too much on Zola's touch. Movement, the mutual awareness, very evident again. Desai got up above Kroos. She nearly flicked it through to Somalia. Desai, by the way, is still down. You can see him there, getting up a little gingerly. Petrescu coming in field and going down over Davis's challenge. Does just feel a degree of anxiety at this stage of the game, but Desai is feeling his neck a bit there. Chelsea still only do have one goal. Flo in search of another. Petrescu coming close to him. Ferrer right behind. Ferrer's cross, Poyet's header. Can't feel comfortable at 1-0. It's worth a word to the Almighty. 20 minutes into the second half, when you might have had 6, and they're still not flying in.
You can never feel comfortable at 1-0, but by the same token, you know if you're the manager or coach sitting there, you're still manufacturing chances.
Wise. This got by Petrescu didn't come off that time. Bonderen, Konteman, Davissa. Konteman teasing Zola. He'd be well advised not to do too much of that. On by Ferrer. Zola has beaten the offside flag again. It's Flo. It's Poyet. Poyet! That is a magnificent save. Strong hand. He stood up a while, the goalkeeper, and he watched because Poyet had so much time.
Well, Kondeman made a mistake in the first place trying to play Flo onside. When he played back the accurate ball to Poyet, give credit to the goalkeeper because he has lost a bit of mobility.
Zola to flight it in. Petrescu back post. Babayaro! Flo! Now they do feel safe. The lead is doubled. The sense of security is multiplied many-fold. Great header back, Babayaro the crossbar this time, and Flo the follow-up.
Well, the first cross got a deflection, terrific header back across the goal, and credit to Chelsea to throwing men into that dangerous area. Babayaro and then Flo, and the goalkeeper, we were just saying about his lack of mobility. He did get hurt in the first half. He is walking gingerly across his area at times. He's not taking his goal kicks. Konteman is taking those for him. But even then he managed to get his hands to the ball, but it's no more than Chelsea deserved, and I'm sure they would have expected too on the balance of play.
A little bit of a flare-up between Konteman and Wise. In fairness to the Dutchman, after the initial contact he did all he could to jump over Chelsea's skipper. And the referee perhaps sagely has turned a blind eye. Deschamps. Ferrer. Petrescu. Cruz is bigger than Wise. It's Wise who's been penalised on halfway.
Yeah, little Wisey, the only Englishman on the field tonight.
Spaniard Correa with the sliding tackle. Feyenoord need 2 at least, and it's hard to see. Cruz, Somalia, Kalu, Leboeuf away, Somalia. Oh, Wise has done well there. Industry personified, and Deschamps. Options wherever he looked. Petrescu is tearing through the centre-forward channel. Van Wonderen took it away from the goalkeeper. It's a better safe than sorry, especially when your goalkeeper is marginally invalided. The Burke across in front of Cruz. None of the qualifiers from the first phase of the Champions League scored fewer goals than Feyenoord's 7. They only got 2 in one game. But they did score in every game. Petrescu. Deschamps. Slow. Wise. Ferrer.
Lovely touch by Wise to invite Ferrer to try his luck from that distance. Ambitious shot. Chelsea keeping the pressure on. I'm very impressed with Petrescu's runs from the right-hand side of midfield. In effect, he's playing right of 4, but he makes these runs diagonally across the field, and Ferrer takes the place when he leaves that space. There really is a fluidity about Chelsea at their best, and it's always trying to play it on the deck, which is good.
Go running into Consuman. It's Margic. Zola. Zola. Poyet. Hardly a Chelsea player who you can look at and say he hasn't been an attacking player for them on the night. And I think you can take the word hardly out of that sentence. They've all been potential goal scorers. The Burke. Consuman held off Corey Andrew Flo.
That's been a good battle, Flo and Consuman. There's talk of Beenhakker at the end of the season, possibly, and hopefully, if they had a good Champions League run, retiring. He's seen quite a few clubs and been successful in different countries. But I have to say his players tonight, and one never likes to be critical or to see managers or coaches in trouble, but I don't think his players have done him credit tonight. I think they've been a poor advert.
Well, that tells a story, but only half the story. Chelsea have had 16 more shots off target, 32 cracks at goal. At the start of phase 2, there were 6 teams unbeaten in the Champions League. Defeats last night for Sparta Prague and Porto took it down to 4. Oh, Dudek in confusion with Consuman. And at the shed end they thought he carried it out, but it's going to go down to 3 unbeaten tonight, it seems, because Feyenoord were another. These 5 draws have kept them defeated. Barcelona, Lazio and Valencia are the others. Pretty patterns from Babayaro and Poyet. Kalou broke it up. Deschamps tackled. Van Hassel. Kalou. Van Hovel is wide. Pretty horrible pass.
Well, Kalou is known as a quickie on the wide outside. He hasn't really shown us that pace tonight. He's been a peripheral figure on the right-hand side of the Feyenoord team.
It is extraordinary how Chelsea keep lifting themselves for these European nights. Their domestic form, like Feyenoord's, is recently relatively poor, 9th in the Premiership, 12 points behind the leaders. Just as Feyenoord are 12 points behind Ajax back in Holland. Chelsea 6 domestic games without a win. Feyenoord 1 win in their last 6 at home. It's the effect of the Champions League, you would think, kicking in. But Chelsea keep kicking on in the Champions League. Both sides had a couple of drawn games since their last game in Europe.
Probably an irony, Peter, that this Chelsea side playing tonight, which one may consider Vialli's best selection, who knows, maybe Ken Bates knows, he writes his programme notes and criticises his manager, but if this is his best selection tonight, and if this side were to play without the Champions League hindrance in the Premiership, this is a top 3 side.
And still might be, in fairness. A couple of games in hand, there's a bit of catching up to do, but it's catching up that can be done. Bradford come here at the weekend, and then they go up to Sunderland for what will be a massive game. Then it's Rome, and after the Olympic Stadium in Rome, potentially Boothbury Park Hull or Church Road Hayes. Such is the variety of the continental and the domestic fixture list. Dennis Wise will play anywhere, anytime. Desai. Away to Samajic. Davisa. Cruz, nice touch. Desai's there though. Cruz, having offloaded, went down. It's a Feyenoord free kick.
Big strong player Cruz, the Argentine, there you see him. Definite foul. The buff, breathless. Got a reputation for laziness as a centre forward, but a good goals record.
Kalou's throw. Attempting to wriggle infield. Babayaro preventing him from so doing. It's the Yugoslav with the free kick. Cruz represents an extra target now for him. Conterman is forward as well. Somalia between them. Van Hassel, decent pop.
We haven't seen the best of him tonight. He is a good player. Good shield in front of his 2 centre-backs normally. Good vision. And with a very, very good shot.
Coming up on ITV, in particular ITV2 in the first instance, the top 2 in Serie A on the Sunday evening. Lazio, Juventus, cracking game. Lazio-Chelsea on Tuesday week, extended highlights of that Champions League game. Chelsea's next, December the 7th. And then the following evening, December the 8th, our next live game on ITV, Manchester United-Valencia. United will have to win. Time for a change. Wise has had another ripping game for Chelsea.
don't think he'll find another shirt for him.
I know it's difficult. He may not want one.
He may not want one the way he's played. He may be better to make an early substitution. To be fair, most clubs usually carry 2 sets. Usually one short sleeve, one long sleeve. So I'm sure they have a shirt somewhere for him.
But these days most clubs brought a seamstress with them. Certainly down the King's Road. Oh, Kelly's got his sleeves now. Long from Leboeuf. Flick on by Poyet. Held up by Flo. Wide for Zola. Zola with a curler. Dudek is moving awkwardly but comes down well.
Zola proving you only need half a yard. You don't have to go past your man to get in a shot. You just need to make an angle. Quick feet.
Flo, consummate at his back, as he has been for so much of the evening. Got a degree of sympathy for him. So he hasn't half put himself out for the team. Like a rubber ball, it's kept on bouncing back to him. Callum. Just keeps running into a cul-de-sac. Zola. Poyet. Wise. Perilous ball across the face of the penalty area. Holzman held it up well. Dudek won't thank him for this because he cannot kick at the moment. And Van Hobble has stuck him out of a nasty hole. When they invented the new back pass rule, David, they didn't think of injured goalkeepers.
Certainly added something to the game. Teams sit deeper. There's a greater depth to the game, of course. It has stopped the condensing of midfield space. There is more space to play than there was when we had a spell in English football when teams screamed out and closed the space in the midfield.
Ballon for air by Samardzic. And here comes the last of the big boys again, Desai. And Poyet, and Flo, and Leboeuf is the usual suspects. They're up by Van Bonderen. Better. Leboeuf charged down Van Hobble as much as he charged down the ball. A word to the wise on the way back to the halfway line. Van Hobble did have a game here with Southampton during his year on the South Coast. He actually, under Graham Souness, broke Southampton's transfer record. More than £1 million when he arrived from Galatasaray.
He was one of several Feyenoord players who made their way to England. Trustful and Blinker, Sheffield Wednesday, who I signed. Larson and Van Bronckhorst in Scotland. So they've always produced good quality players.
Not to mention, of course, on Ruud Gullit. And another current in the Premiership, George Boateng. Aston Villa, who enjoyed his night against Coventry on Monday. Here's Petrescu. Zola let it run. Deschamps played it in. Zola. Just another one of those if-only moments.
Almost an exquisite goal to report. Lovely touches. Players in harmony. All the different nationalities in the Chelsea game, but when they put the ball down, their minds are in unison.
So Di Matteo is another one in the Chelsea locker. Came on, of course, in Milan and playing one of the passes of the season to open things up for Dennis Wise. Zola. Flo. Poyet. Caballero wide. Caballero to deliver. And he does so well. And the header down is from little Dennis Wise. Who, funny enough, might have got up too high then. His downward leverage was a little awkward.
Lovely ball. Curved right onto Wise's forehead. I think he had visions of Tommy Lawton there.
You think of two more different footballers? Gave and went. It was a nice touch from Cruz, and this is Somalia. Desai never stopped working, and Somalia, who scored in each of his last 3 games, crucially against Rosenborg on matchday 6, was denied a clear-sighted goal by Marcel Desai. Into the last 5 or 6 minutes, and it's Feyenoord's second corner. Away by Deschamps. Cruz let it run for Bosvelt. Fine tackle by Wise. Petrescu pops up anywhere. Leboeuf is the man over. Flo, Zola, Flo. Good save, second time. Sumptuous goal from Chelsea. Consider the cake iced.
The centre of the field was like a desert there. 7v4 as Chelsea attacked the space that had been left by the corner kick and the attempt to throw players forward by Feyenoord. Wonderful touch that puts Flo through. Dudek a little bit unlucky. There's the inventiveness, and there's the finish. Petrescu making the first pass. Zola, who else? The cleverest of touches. A more than satisfactory night.
And Toure Andre Flo, having scored 2 goals this evening, now has 8 for Chelsea in Europe, which carries him above Tommy Baldwin and none less than Gianluca Vialli. He is now Chelsea's second most prolific goal scorer on the continent, but he only has half as many as Peter Osgood. Zola. Flo in search of a hat-trick. Poyet. And Zola!
Well, Feyenoord absolutely asleep there when Flo gets that ball back across the goal. Petrescu came in like a steam train. Great determination to try and score. Feyenoord asleep.
Gus Poyet is on the way off. You saw Roberto Di Matteo there wanting to replace him for his second substitute appearance in this competition this year. And Chelsea haven't finished there. Didier Deschamps has finished. And this is a Chelsea debut for Samuel Dalla Bona, a summer signing from Atalanta. What a stage on which to start. He's 18 years old, captain of Italy's under-18s. Discovered by Gianluca Vialli at a youth tournament in Scotland. rare, penalised into the last couple of minutes. Gahoy has hardly had a chance to impress his old mates. Calabona's first touch in senior football was in the solar plexus. Well, I think it just might have been. Javiera out-jumped by Cruz, who seems to have climbed on the Chelsea defender, who started the whole ball rolling. Took a while to get it rolling. A first half Chelsea thoroughly dominated, only at the end of which he finally broke through with a header. The second half has been Flo's and has been just about as much Chelsea's. Desai got into trouble, and Cruz is now clear for on goal, and Cruz has had a shot and he scored for Feyenoord. Well, that was an inexplicable lapse to rank alongside the two we saw in the Manchester United side in Florence last evening. Cruz was hurriedly through, and Feyenoord's record of having scored in each of their European games this season is in rather hollow fashion maintained.
It was a mistake certainly by Desai. He tried to recover it, and to be fair to Cruz, when he got forward and he was faced with the pressure of beating the goalkeeper, he got to the side of the ball and rolled it expertly in the corner. A small blip, a little anticlimax for Chelsea, but they've been so comfortable, they've almost cruised the game. Feyenoord feeble in most of their play, and fully giving truth to the odds this morning. I think Feyenoord was something like 7-1 outsiders to win this game. In truth, having watched the game, those odds were slightly generous.
Save it up for Javiera. He must be purring inside. Jumping up and down. Updating himself to his seat for the cameras. It's only match day one. Manchester United needed to remind themselves of that in Florence. There's time to make it up. Galabona. And now Di Matteo. Wise, tackled by Bosvelt, who's hardly had a mention. Those two really had a meeting of mind in midfield, Wise and Bosvelt. Could have been quite a sparky affair. He's been booked against all three opponents he's faced, Bosveld, in the first phase of the Champions League. Stayed out of mischief tonight. Lebeur's free kick, Zola. Petrescu gave and went, Zola. One of many in a crop of young Italians, of whom Gianluca Vialli is well aware. His contacts in that country, of course, are pretty well second to none. Cruz came to receive the free kick. Leboeuf has given another one away in a position of greater potential potency. It would take the shine off if they belted another one in from here.
Well, Van Hastel will certainly appreciate this one. To be fair, he's had 3 efforts in this game, but I've felt retrospectively all the way along, really, that Van Hastel and Bosvelt have never got tight enough to the Chelsea midfield, and they've really been outnumbered. They haven't had the help from the wide players, and that's led to their downfall.
It's Bosvelt on the ball, and he played it the other way. It was the last kick. Emphatic is an adjective that barely does it justice. Chelsea have been marvellous tonight. Babiyaro got them rolling after a thoroughly dominant first half, and in the second half, Tory Andrew Flo added a couple more. Chelsea barely got their desserts. They were terrific. They won, despite Cruz's late response, very, very comfortably, embarrassingly comfortably, and they move on to Rome now in terrific shape. Chelsea 3, Feyenoord 1. It's Terry and Des after the break.